is Clodagh Burnham, the Chair Student Officer in College, and you're very welcome today to our open day and to this session on making an application as a mature student. Just wondering, does everyone have a copy of the new 2014 guidelines? Might be worth having a copy just for the presentation. I leave them here, you can pop down and pick one up. My details are up on screen, but my details are in the booklet as well. So please, if after today, if there are any questions you haven't had answered, please do feel free to contact me by email or phone, and I will get back to you. If there aren't enough of the booklets, we do have them out at the admissions desk, so you're welcome to pick one up later on. So today in the presentation, I just want to highlight the importance of research. It's really key when you're making an application as a mature student to university, whatever university you decide to apply to. We'll have a quick look at the mature student application process, and we'll have another quick look at the online application form, the details of which are included in that little guidelines booklet that you have in front of you now. As I say, course research is really important, and that's why you're here today, and I think it's fantastic. It's really key to making a good decision about what you want to study next year. The prospectus has a lot of information. I'm sure you've all picked up a copy of that. The prospectus has only 1 or 2 pages devoted to each course, so it's limited. There is in the prospectus at the bottom of the information page a further information link, so I'd suggest that you have a good look at the website. The website often has copies of the course handbook, which students are given when they register for the course, so it's a really good way of getting into the nitty-gritty, having a look and see exactly what the course is about. You have access today to the staff and students in the various courses that you're interested in, so I'd say use that time wisely, and make sure if you have any questions, any queries about the course, that you do ask them and leave here with as much information as you possibly can, so you're making a very informed decision about your application to Trinity for next September. And just to say as well that in January, and it's in the little booklet as well, on the 9th of January I'm running an information seminar for mature applicants to Trinity, and we'll go through the application form in much more detail, and we can highlight any tips and give you tips and advice and information on how to complete that well. In addition to course research, I think at this stage it's very important that you engage in some financial research and ask yourself questions about how you're going to undertake a 4-year degree programme. The degrees here in Trinity are 4 years long, and other universities they're 3. Just about asking questions about, are you eligible for free fees? I mean, it's something that comes up when students are offered places and suddenly they realise that, I thought I was eligible for free fees, I'm not. And now is the time to identify whether or not you're eligible for free fees. There's information in the general prospectus and on the Trinity website under the fees office, if you're interested in pursuing that. If you're not eligible for free fees, how are you going to fund a 4-year degree programme? And again, all the fees and information are up on the website. Will you be eligible for the SUSI grant? Will you be eligible for social welfare, the Back to Education allowance? And I find from certainly dealing with students on a regular basis that the citizens' information is a great resource and a great help in terms of identifying what supports you may be eligible to apply for, like grants, will you be eligible for social welfare and so on. They've got a great overall insight into student supports and so on. So I'd suggest having a look at that. But the information, as I say, is available on the fees office, and you're welcome to have a look at that. So again, just today is just very broad and general, looking at the impact of college on life. It does change things at home when you take up a degree, a full-time degree, particularly if you have been out of education for a while or you've been in the home for a while. So the support of family and friends is absolutely key, and we know that in college, and when students register here, we're very conscious of involving family and children as much as we possibly can. We have a student parent group. We had a lovely event there just after students registered, started in September. On a Saturday we invited parents, their partners and their children in for a family day. Christmas is the same, we will organise a Christmas event. It's about getting people in, and this will be your second home for 4 years if you take up a degree here, so family support is really, really key. And things like childcare, it's always the very practical things that impact on mature students' ability. It's not their, to succeed in the course, it's not their academic ability, but the practical things like childcare. If a child is sick and you've, haven't got good childcare arrangements in place, you can end up missing time from college, and that impacts. So it's the practical things. So we need to alert you to that and get you to focus in on that, so that you can be organised for taking up, regardless of where you study. These issues, you know, can and do arise. And other responsibilities. I know from time to time we have students here who are responsible for caring for their parents. So again, that can have an impact. So you just need to look and have a look at the course research, the financial research, and looking at, you know, is it the time right for me to take up a full-time course at university? So having decided that yes, the time is right, you must make 2 applications to be considered for a mature place in Trinity. We have 2 application forms, the CAO, everyone must apply to the CAO. And we have our Trinity online supplementary application form, and the guidelines booklet that I have handed out to you goes through that form in great detail. So you'll be very well aware of the questions that you will be asked in advance. Have any of you looked at the Trinity online, registered, set up your account and registered for that yet? Well, it is early and you're just undertaking your research, but you will need to do that. You need a CAO number to set up your account on mytcd.ie. The deadline for both application forms is the 1st of February. Now, it's not a first come, first served, and we don't look at the application forms in advance of the 1st of February. So I say continue on with your research. You're here today, continue on with more in-depth research after today, and make sure that your application form is as good as it possibly can be, because that is your stepping stone to getting an interview for a programme here in Trinity. Okay, it is competitive. We always have a lot more applications than we have places available, so I can't stress highly enough the importance of submitting a really good application form. Okay, we do not accept late applications, and there's just one exception, and those exceptions are outlined in the booklet, but there are exceptions to the two application form rule. For those applying for nursing and midwifery, you apply to the CAO only. There's a separate application process for the nursing and midwifery students, and I would suggest you have a look at the Nursing Careers website, nursingcareers.ie, for information on the mature application process. It's CAO only. Applicants will then be called for an assessment test, and then you'll be allocated points based on how you do on that test. And Trinity doesn't have any involvement in that. It's the Nursing Careers board, and they do have sample questions up on their website, so I'd suggest you have a good look at that. So the application forms, we receive them by the 1st of February. We start processing them. The schools and courses will receive their applications. They will work through them. They'll have a panel of people devoted to managing the mature student process. They will work through the application forms. They will shortlist. They will identify those students whom they would like to meet at interview, and those students who they feel, or applicants whom they feel are not ready for a place at 3rd level yet. And that may be due to being out of education for a considerable long time. That, you know, I would always recommend that this is not the first step. If you're eager to get back into education, applying to Trinity is not necessarily the first step. I would recommend, you know, maybe engaging in further education, something related, an extramural programme. If you have studied before, you have Leaving Cert, an extramural programme just to get you back in. You're sitting in lectures with students, you're getting a feel for the college. They really do look for that recent and relevant education. Not so much about how you did in the past at Leaving Cert. They may not be particularly interested in that, but it's your recent and current education and your interest in the course that they will be looking to identify. The interviews then normally take place between March and May. As soon as the interviews are complete, we will let you know whether or not you've been successful. So we don't wait until the CAO offers at the 1st of July. We will write out to you informally, I suppose, to let you know that you have been successful or not. And we do have a waiting list system in operation as well. So you may get a letter to say that you're on a waiting list. But that's good news as well, because oftentimes people, for different reasons, maybe they've thought they were eligible for free fees and they're not. They don't take up the place, or they accept a higher offer somewhere else. You know, a place on a waiting list may become available. So really by the end of May, you should know one way or the other. And then the CAO formal offers come out in early July. Okay, so it's usually the first week in July. And as soon as you're given a window then to accept your offer, as soon as people have accepted their offer, I run a Getting Organised information seminar for incoming mature students in July, towards the end of July. So we will look at things like grants and childcare and financial supports available here in the college, and you'll all be invited along to that. I'd say just watch the deadlines. It's important. The CAO application, the CAO offer has to be accepted within a certain time frame. Now, people might be away on holidays. They might think, well, I've accepted my informal offer from Trinity. You must accept your CAO offer. Now, you can do that online from anywhere. So if you're on holidays, it's just about watching the deadlines, keeping an eye on the process, and making sure that you've accepted your offer. If you don't accept it, it simply goes to somebody else. So it's really important that you do that. And if you're applying to different colleges, you know, you may be applying to Trinity, but you may be applying to a number of different colleges as well. And every college, just to say, has a different application process for mature students. So It's about identifying the course you want to study, where you want to study that course, and then the application process for each college. And again, keep your documentation together in terms of, different applications, different deadlines, and so on. Okay, so I have mentioned a number of the exceptions, and there are other exceptions, and they're all on page 5 of the Mature Guidelines booklet that you have there. For most of the programs, mature entry, most of the programs, there are no formal requirements for entry as a mature student. So we don't say you need X amount of Leaving Cert points, or you need to have this subject or that subject. But again, there are a number of exceptions and specific assessments. As you can see, psychology there, all applicants to psychology will have to sit an aptitude test. The aptitude test will take place this year, I believe, March time. And then based on how you do in the aptitude test, students will be called to interview. For engineering, computer science, there is a maths requirement. So you need to have the equivalent of higher Leaving Cert maths, C and higher Leaving Cert maths, to be considered eligible, to be considered for a place in engineering, basically because it's so maths heavy that people need to go in there equipped with the skills to manage that course. There are others, and again, I'd ask you to check page 6 of the Mature Student Guidelines. For entry to medicine, there are minimum entry requirements, and you need to present a grade B and a grade C in biology and physics or chemistry at higher Leaving Cert level or equivalent, and all applicants to medicine must sit the HPAT aptitude test, which takes place next year on the 1st of March. And there's no getting away from those minimum entry requirements. If you don't meet those, you will not be considered for a place on the course. So just some general information then in terms of making your application. You must have a valid CAO number to make your application to Trinity. You go in and you create an account, your own personal account on mytcd.ie, so you need an email address and a password there. You will only be considered for 3 courses in Trinity, okay? And those 3 courses must be on your CAO form. They must be the same. If you apply for, you can apply, as I'm sure you've had a look at the CAO at this stage, and you know that you can apply for up to 10 degree programmes on the CAO, but you will only be considered for 3 Trinity choices. So if you put 5 Trinity choices on your CAO, for 2 of those you will not be considered. Okay, so you submit a direct application for up to 3 programmes. You don't have to apply for 3, but you can apply for up to 3.
Can you apply for other colleges?
Of course, yes, you can apply for, you can fill up your 10 choices if you wish, but only 3 of those should be Trinity choices. And they must be the same. We make our offers through the CAO, so if you're assessed for a programme here and you don't have it on your CAO form, well then we cannot make you, even if we decided you'd be a perfect candidate for that course, we cannot make you an offer because it's not on your CAO form, so they must be the same. And just bear in mind that as for mature applicants in Trinity anyway, you cannot use your change of mind, okay? So you can't add a new course after the 1st of February because we start our application process after the 1st of February and we work on the basis that they're the courses you're applying for, so there's no facility to add a new course. You can use a change of order facility on your CAO form, so you can go in and change the order of the courses that you have there. So that is something you can do, but just bear in mind that there's no change of mind facility. So just to roughly and very generally go through the application form to highlight the type of questions and the type of information we're looking for. The date of birth, you must be over 23 on the 1st of January in the year of application to be considered a mature applicant, and we have no upper age limit, and sometimes people are worried about age. There is absolutely no upper age limit. In fact, this year we have a woman who celebrates her 70th birthday starting in first year with us in a 4-year-long degree programme. So there is absolutely no upper age limit, but you must be over 23 on the 1st of January in the year of application. The application form, they're asked for permission to contact you, and I think that would be useful if you agreed to that. You must enter your full name and address and your EU status. EU status is important. You must have EU status to be eligible to apply as a mature applicant. So if you're concerned about that, just have a look at page 2 of the Mature Student Guidelines and the information will be outlined there. You must have your CAO number, as I mentioned. This is important, and there is a section there on the first page about disability. If you'd like to identify a disability, you're welcome to do that. It has absolutely no impact on your application, but it just means that we're aware that you have a disability, and should you be offered a place, we'll be able to direct you to the disability service, which they're just across the way here, to have a look and see what type of supports that we might need to put in place for you to succeed on your programme through the year. Section 2 looks at education. This is very, very important, particularly if you're studying recently. don't presume that the people who are reading your application form will know about a FETAC Level 5 course or any other programme you may have studied. You need to go into detail about the programme that you've studied to give them as much information as possible. This is your stepping stone to an interview in college, and don't presume, as I say, that they will know what your course is about. So you outline your secondary education, if you have any, and your highest third level education or your current studies. It's important that we have all of that information. There are sections for including other courses that you might think are relevant, and this is the time to start thinking about what you've studied in the past that might relate to the course that you're applying for now. It's all valid, it's all important, and don't discount something to think, they're not interested in that. If you've studied something that's related to the course, whether it's an extramural, an evening programme, whatever it is, include it there. The more information they have on you, the easier it will be for them to make a decision to call you for interview. You must have English language proficiency, and there are a number of tests outlined in the guidelines. I'd suggest that you have a look at those. That is an admissions requirement. It's not going to impact on the mature application process, but if you're offered a place, in order to take up that place, it's something that you must present your English language proficiency test at the required grades, and include all relevant details. Don't presume that something is not important. Your employment in chronological order, full job title and responsibilities. It's important again that you don't just give a brief title. You need the interviewer or the assessors to have a really good feel for the type of employment you've engaged in the past, and any other experience. If you've engaged in voluntary work, it's important that you include that too. It's a very holistic process, so it's not just about your education and grades you may have achieved at Leaving Cert or in your FETAC courses. It's about looking at you holistically, looking at your work experience, your voluntary work. It all comes into play, and of course your motivation as well, and it's something that's important for the personal, the additional information section. So there's a question about how you heard about the course, so if you could complete that would be great. Some of you, I may have gone out to visit you in further education colleges. I've been out and about quite a bit recently. You may have emailed or contacted the Mature Student Office, whatever or wherever you heard. It's just useful for us to know so we can work on that for next year. So the real key section to the application form is then section 5, which is your personal statement, and there are a number of sections there. There's an additional information section of a maximum of 500 words. There's a question about what aspects of the course interest you the most, 700 words, and explain the relevance of your life and or educational experiences to this subject or course, 700 words. So the additional information section can be a more general approach to this section. So anything you want the panel to know about you that you haven't been able to include in the other two sections would be important here. And I'd suggest, given the competitive nature of applications to Trinity, that you complete that section fully, all sections up to the 500 word limit. And I'd suggest that you do this in Word or a notebook so that you can just copy and paste in. You can do your editing, you can do your spell checking and copy it in. It'll make your online application a lot quicker as well. What aspect of the course interests you the most? Now, this is a very specific question about the course. So what they're looking here is to identify that you have undertaken a high level of research into the programme. So they will want to see here that you know exactly what the course is about. If it's a professional qualification, they'll want to know that you know exactly what the course entails, and if, for example, you're applying for social work or occupational therapy, that you know exactly what a social worker does or an occupational therapist does. It's very much based on research, and of course today this open day will form part of that research for you. Explain the relevance of your life and or educational experiences to the subject of course. Well, really what that question is asking you is, why at this time of your life are you applying for this particular course, and why are you applying for it in Trinity College? So it's about bringing that whole experience together and saying, well, why is the time right for me now to take up this programme? And pulling in on your work experience, if you've related work experience or any study that you may have undertaken recently that has brought you to this point now that you're making a mature application to Trinity College for a particular subject. And then the declaration, you complete that section and then submit. Now, you don't have to, you can set up your account and you can work away on this application form. You don't submit it until you're really 100% happy with the application. So you can be working away on this, but I wouldn't suggest that you send it off too early, because something may come to you. You may come to the information evening on the 9th of January, or you may be talking to somebody, or you may think of something that's relevant that you can include. And I'd say, wait until you've all of your research undertaken, that you've had a good look at the course handbook, that you maybe talk to a member of staff or talk to a student about their experience here in college, before you submit. So you can have your application form, you can be working on it, and then submit it when you're 100% happy with the application form. Okay? So I just want to briefly outline the type of supports that we offer here in Trinity for mature students. As the Mature Student Officer, part of my role is to outline the opportunities that are available for mature students in college. And I do that by events like today, visiting further education colleges, running events during the year. I ran a Discover Trinity week in November, where students came in and they had the opportunity to experience different subjects in Trinity. We ran a day in psychology, a day in medicine, social work, and so on. So the opportunities to bring people in and to show them Trinity and to show them the opportunities that are available here. But part of my role is also to ensure the integration of mature students into college life here. And we have over 1,000 mature students studying in Trinity at the moment. And one of the ways that assists mature students to become familiar with the campus early on is to run an orientation programme. And this year we welcome 200 new mature students in on our orientation programme. It's a week-long programme prior to the start of term. So students get the opportunity to come in to meet other students, to meet the support staff in college, to find their way around, tours of the library, introduction to the Trinity network, the IT, maths, if maths is part of your programme, we ran maths classes, study skills, writing skills, all of that the week before. And it's a very, very successful programme. And the students find it enormously helpful because it's a big step. You're making a transition into, some of you may have been at university before, some may not. So even still, you're engaging in something new, and it's a really good way of meeting staff and students and becoming familiar with the college before Freshers Week, which can be quite hectic in here, to say the least. We have a lot of academic support available in college. And specifically for mature students, we have the Writing Resource Centre. So if you're doing a programme where writing essays is part of your course, you can avail of a one-to-one service there from a postgraduate student who will assist you with your essay in whatever form you need. If you might be familiar with writing essays, it might be just getting used to a new referencing system. You may not have written an essay in a number of years, so it's about or at all. So that advice and support and information is there. We also have a maths help desk. Again, for people doing maths as part of their programme, they can avail of a one-to-one service there and support. The counselling service have a learning development unit, and they run a lot of hour, 2 hour long programmes during the weeks of college term, focusing on things like study skills, managing your time, and some of those specifically for mature students as well. So there's a lot of academic support available to you. We also have a tutor service here in college. Every student is allocated a personal tutor. A personal tutor is a member of academic staff, and they're your academic advocate for your time here in Trinity. So if you needed an extension on an essay, or you needed to take time out, your personal tutor would be there to help you with that. And I have to say, having worked here for a number of years, Trinity is very flexible in its approach to its students. We really want students to succeed, and if there's something impinging on your academic work, all you have to do is ask for help. And I'd say wherever you go to study, there will be academic and personal advice and support available to you. If you're having any issues at all you have to do is put up your hand and say, I need help. And you can be sure that there will be somebody there who will be able to help you. We have a health centre on campus and free consultations for all registered students. We have a disability service just across the way if you have a disability. You're welcome to register there, and they can put supports in place to assist you through your time here in Trinity. We have a career service. There are many motivations for returning or starting college for the first time. Some mature students are keen to undertake a degree to assist them to get a better job in the future. Others are fulfilling lifelong ambitions to take up a degree programme here in Trinity. They're all valid. But for those who are interested in careers and getting a good job out of this, well then you can engage with the career service early on, and they have internships and placements and work experience and so on that can really, really help with that. We also have a creche on campus. And students have priority. Their staff can use it as well, and it is subsidised. I'm sure you may be able to go over today and have a look. If you have children and childcare, you can check that out. There's usually a good demand for that, so when you're offered your place, hopefully, looking forward, you can register with the service early to ensure that your child will be on campus. And just to say as well, we have a mature student society, a very vibrant mature student society in college. And we run a number of events during the year. I would work in conjunction with them to run a lot of social events. We had a lovely freshers event. We had a play we put on, the players put on Educating Rita for us, which was a sellout. It was fantastic. We have lunches. We have our Christmas lunch next week on the 12th. We run events in conjunction with the Student Parent Society. I think I mentioned that already. We'll have families coming in with their children. So there's a lot. It's really important to, if you can, wherever you go to study, that you try and engage somewhat in college life. Mature students treat, and rightly so, they treat college as a full-time job. They come in early and they leave at 6 o'clock, and they try to go home and you know, close the door on college and focus on their family life. And that works very well because they're putting in, you know, the right amount of hours to succeed in their study. But if you can at all get involved in college life wherever you study, it really does enhance your experience. And for students who engage in the Mature Student Society and other societies in college, and there's a society stand outside, it really does enhance the Trinity experience for them.